Welcome back, folks, to WrestleRant. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews. All February long, we're breaking down every installment in No Way Out history. Today, we're talking about No Way Out 2005, as seen on the WWE Network. So let's get right down to brass tacks, as Enzo Amore would say. Kicking off the show for the WWE Tag Team titles, I almost said Enzo Amore, Jesus Christ. Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio teaming up to take on the Basham Brothers for the tag titles. Really fun match. Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio were a really fun team. I wish they had more, not more history, but rather more time as a tandem. They didn't really team for too long before they kind of broke off and did their feud. They lost the belts right after WrestleMania after they had their one-on-one match. Another great match at WrestleMania, the opener. But I wish they had teamed more, for a longer period of time past this point. I know they wanted to rush to do the feud in time for WrestleMania and Judgment Day, Great American Bash and SummerSlam, but it would have been nice if they had their team go a little bit longer than they did. Maybe in the final few months of 2004. I know by that point Eddie was already kind of still feuding with Kurt Angle, but still would have been nice. But regardless, this was a really fun match. I talked about it in my No Way Out 2004 review. The Basham Brothers, I never really cared for too much at all. I mean, they were a pretty decent tag team. Nothing that really stood out as special to me anyway. But they were so much better, in my opinion, as part of the cabinet or on their own than they were with fucking Shaniqua and that whole weird ass gimmick from a year and a half before this. But really fun match. They're great athletes. They worked very well with Eddie and Rey Mysterio, who are almost incapable of having a bad match with whoever, especially as a tandem. So really fun match. Great moment with Eddie and Rey Mysterio. Cheating, but that was lie, cheat, and steal was Eddie's thing. A family tradition, as Michael Cole said on commentary, to win the WWE Tag Team titles going into their match at WrestleMania 1-on-1. So really fun match and a hot wave kicking off the show with a title change. After that, we had Booker T versus Heidenreich. I have no idea why this match happened. Heidenreich was fresh off the feud with The Undertaker. And that's what really, not bothers me the most, but I just thought it was a complete waste of time. They did the Heidenreich Undertaker feud for about 3-4 months. It started at No Mercy when Heidenreich ran over Taker with the fucking limo. They had a match at Survivor Series that was poop. They had they furthered the feud at Armageddon. Then they had another match, the Royal Rumble, that was also shit. The casket match, I think. Yeah, the casket match. And then they just transitioned Heidenreich into another throwaway feud with Booker T. If they wanted, it was more about making, just giving Taker something to do before WrestleMania. There was never really any plans for him, Heidenreich that is, to be a top-level star coming out of that feud. He lost all the matches. The matches were shit. The thing with Snitsky went nowhere, where they were supposed to be a tag team taking on the Brothers of Destruction at Mania. Maybe that's why this match was so throwaway, because they were supposed to do that at Mania. They scrapped it because they knew it would be a bad idea. So, Booker T won here via disqualification after Heidenreich got himself disqualified with a steel chair shot to Booker T. Waste of time. The match was what it was. I just do not give a shit about Heidenreich. And it really came as no surprise that Heidenreich was really in no prominent match at WrestleMania. He didn't do anything at all. I mean, he really was, I think he was in that Battle Royal, wasn't he? The pre-show Battle Royal, along with Booker T, which he won. So both guys were not doing anything at all on the road to WrestleMania, so kind of a waste of a match. After that, a Cruiserweight Open Elimination match for the Cruiserweight Championship, Royal Rumble-style rules, with the then-champion Funaki, Spike Dudley, I almost said Kung Fu Naki, but it was Funaki at that point. Funaki, Spike Dudley, Shannon Moore, Ikea, which was, later known as Jimmy Wang Yang, Paul London, and Chavo Guerrero. Pretty standard match. I was surprised the crowd didn't give two shits about it. I'm not surprised they didn't give two shits about the people involved, because they didn't really have much going for them at that time. I was just surprised they didn't care about the match itself. Maybe just because we had seen so many of these matches, it seemed like the go-to match to do a fucking, we have no idea what to do with the Cruiserweights, Cruiserweight Open. You know what I mean? That's basically what they did. I feel like in every single pay-per-view, every single SmackDown pay-per-view that I watch, there's always a goddamn Cruiserweight Open. And they're not bad matches, they're fun. It's just there's no story there, and I don't give a shit who wins. But Chavo Guerrero wins, new Cruiserweight champion for the first time. I believe he was champion since Great American Bash when he dropped the belt to Rey Mysterio. I don't know. I don't really care about the belt, but it was a fine match. After that, Undertaker versus Luther Reigns. This came after Taker, his match with Rene Dupree in the tournament to crown a new number one contender to the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. His match went to a double countout after Luther Reigns and Mark Jindrak interfered and cost Taker the match. That was because Kurt Angle faced Rey Mysterio in the next match, and Angle wanted Taker to lose. So that set up a match between Taker and Reigns at this pay-per-view. Jindrak was banned from ringside. The match was shit. Again, don't give a shit about Luther Reigns or Mark Jindrak. I talked about that in my Great American Bash 04 review about a year and a half ago in the summer of 2014. What they saw in Luther Reigns, I have no fucking idea. A lot like Heidenreich, he was another guy who came on the scene. They had big plans for. They put him with Kurt Angle after Team Angle disbanded, and at some point in 2004, I guess, after Benjamin went to Monday Night Raw, they put Reigns and Jindrak with Kurt Angle as part of his little tandem, his little group, whatever. But he was the fucking shits. He had nothing going for him. He wasn't a terrible wrestler, but he just wasn't good. He just didn't really seem like he had any potential at all. Take, again, same thing with Heidenreich. They just put him with Taker to give Taker something to do before WrestleMania. That was no surprise, and I was not shocked he won here. But again, it was really just kind of a waste. I don't care about Luther Reigns. He was not involved, or didn't care about Luther Reigns. He was not involved in anything notable at WrestleMania that year, and I'm pretty sure he was gone from the company mere months after this pay-per-view. He did not last long in WWE. Neither did Mark Jindrak. But that was the match. Was what it was. Typical Taker match with another throwaway opponent. Now we get down to the real matches of the night, in my opinion. First of all, a singles match to crown a number one contender to the WWE Championship at WrestleMania between John Cena and Kurt Angle. Great pre-match video package set to Enemy by Fozzy with the whole recapping of the tournament to crown a new number one contender. So I talked about it in my No Way Out 04 review, how Cena and Angle reminded me a lot. Like their ongoing feud from 02, when Cena debuted, to when it wrapped up in 05 and their matches over the WWE Championship later on this year, in 2005 this year, that it reminded me a lot of the on and off feud between CM Punk and John Cena from, almost 09, 2010 to when it wrapped up in 2013 with that amazing match on Raw. I feel like Cena and Angle, their feud was a lot similar to that, and that they had great matches, always had really good chemistry. This match was no exception. A lot of great back and forth momentum here. A lot of near falls, suspensional near falls. Cena was made to look like a star here. He picked up a big win. And what stood out the most to me in this match, Cena was gradually getting over. And this was not a case where with like Roman Reigns, who granted got, not really actually. I mean, Roman Reigns, by the time he got a world title match in 2015, he had been on the main roster for just as long as Cena had before he got his match in 2005. He debuted in 2002, got his title match in 05. Reigns debuted in 2012, got his title match in 2015. Pretty much the same time frame. I know you could say like different builds. Cena was built up from a tag team guy to a mid-card to a main event. Reigns never really went through that transition, and that's a whole other argument for another day. But I just thought it was funny because also, ironically enough, the same city that shit on Roman Reigns, just last year at the Royal Rumble, Philadelphia is where this pay-per-view emanated from, Kurt Angle's hometown. Now, they could have easily rallied behind Angle because they didn't like John Cena, they resented his push, they didn't give a shit about him, and they wanted Angle to win. A lot like Chicago and CM Punk. When they rallied behind CM Punk in 2011 because they didn't give a crap about Punk, they didn't give a crap, rather, John Cena. Not that they didn't care, but they just hated John Cena. They really wanted Punk to win. The crowd here on this show could have easily done that with John Cena and Kurt Angle. And this was not before the time of, this was before smarky crowds. No. If they wanted to cheer for Kurt Angle in his hometown, they could have, but they didn't. It was a testament to two things. One, how great of a heel Kurt Angle was, and not embracing the audience and turning them against him. And two, how great and how strong and how well booked, how smartly booked John Cena's push towards the main event level was from 02 to 2005. It was organic. It didn't feel forced. It didn't feel like they were shoving it down our throats. And that's why people rallied behind John Cena and not Kurt Angle in this match, as it should have been with the babyface versus heel dynamic. That's what stood out to me the most in this match, other than the great in-ring wrestling that was kind of a given considering who was involved and the great chemistry these two have. But a really good match. John Cena wins clean to become the new number one contender to the title at WrestleMania. So after that, in the main event, we had our barbed wire steel cage match for the WWE title, pinning the then champion JBL against The Big Show. The match was basically what you would expect. A lot of interference, a lot of gimmickry and bullshit, and the stipulation itself was cool, I guess, but it was just basically everything that you would expect it to be, with protecting JBL and protecting Big Show and very limited. So Very gimmicky, not bad, just, limited, I guess is the word I would use to describe this match. So it comes down to, in the end, Big Show chokes, a very bloody bout, by the way, a very bloody affair. So Big Show chokeslams JBL through the ring canvas off the top of the cage. That was a pretty cool sight. And then he goes to escape the cage, and he gets down to ringside. He steps down the steel steps. Bell rings. It looks like he's going to win, you hear. And still, the WWE Champion, JBL, because in that time, the Big Show was going from the ring to the steps to climb outside of the ring to win the belt. JBL, who had crashed through the canvas, this was really cool. I had never seen this before, but he goes through the ring. I mean, I'd never seen the match before, or this angle done before. I haven't seen it done since, which is pretty great. But JBL, who had crashed through the canvas, crawled from underneath the ring through the bottom of the ring and technically touched the floor first. I mean, I guess you could say, oh, he had to go over the top, but it's whoever touches the floor first, right? So he wins. He retained the title. Big Show beat the crap out of him afterwards. And that didn't stop. I believe the cabinet came down, the Bajams and Orlando Jordan beat the crap out of Big Show. Out comes Batista, who was rumored to be in the building at that time, who was the, at that night, who at that time was the 2005 Royal Rumble winner, and was still debating whether he should face Triple H or JBL at WrestleMania. So Batista comes down, clears JBL out, and as JBL escapes the ring and goes back up the ramp, he is met by the one John Cena, who spinebusters JBL through the technical equipment near the top of the stage, and we get this great three-way picture of Batista at the top of on the turnbuckle, John Cena standing over JBL, and then JBL, a possible triple threat match between the two, or between the three rather, at WrestleMania. And Michael Cole mentioned on commentary that, it will be Cena and JBL at WrestleMania, but if I'm a betting man, I'd put my money on a triple threat match between Cena, JBL, and Batista at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship. And of course, Batista chose Triple H, so everyone and their mother knew at that time that it was going to be Batista and Triple H at WrestleMania, but they did a nice job of teasing that it could have been Batista and JBL, with Batista making frequent appearances on SmackDown, feuding with JBL, so it was pretty cool, and I liked how they did it. And it made for a great road to WrestleMania, in my opinion, from Royal Rumble to WrestleMania 21, one of my favorite WrestleManias, that it was, top to bottom, a very stacked card, and I talked about it a couple of years ago here on the channel on WrestleRant if you want to check it out. So that is No Way Out 2005, the final pit stop, not the final, but rather the final pit stop before WrestleMania 21. And I thought it was a decent show. It's not a must-see show by any means, not nearly as must-see as the early installments of No Way Out, but still a good show if you want to check it out. I love the year of 2005, so watching this pay-per-view to me was fascinating. I enjoyed it. If you also like the year of 2005, I would recommend checking out the show. Otherwise, maybe not. Any one match, it would have to be Cena and Angle. Great wrestling match, a lot of great drama, and what it meant for Cena at WrestleMania, it meant a lot, high stakes, so I would check it out. The main event was all right for what it was. The post-match stuff I thought was even better. The tag title match was really, really good, great opener. The other three matches, Booker T and Heidenreich was what it was, kind of a waste. Taker and Luther Reigns, fine for what it was, and even Chavo Guerrero and the rest of the Cruiserweight Open was all right. Could have been more, but we had just seen so many of the Cruiserweight Open invitationals, that kind of crap, that it kind of overstayed its, welcome. It was, too much we had already seen too much in so little brief time from the Cruiserweights. Like, the same match is basically what I'm saying, in the matter of only a few years, that it overstayed its welcome. And we had already seen this match multiple times from the Cruiserweights in such a short period of time. But other than that, though, it was a good show. I would check it out again, like I said. If you like the year of 2005 in WWE, check it out. No Way Out 2005 on the WWE Network. So, of course, guys, in my next video, we'll be covering No Way Out 2006, also as seen on the WWE Network, obviously. And in the meantime, in between time, you guys can follow me on Twitter at WrestleRant. Follow me on Facebook and find me there. Like the page at facebook.com/Graham-Matthews. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. All support is greatly appreciated. As I said, next video is covering No Way Out 2006 as seen on the WWE Network. So until then, guys, have a great rest of your week, weekend, whatever it may be. I'm Graham-Matthews, and I'll catch you folks down the road.